Um, Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the IBH or Interdisciplinary Business Honors Program online chat. I'm Juhi Ramaprasad. I'm the IBH Program Director, and I'm really excited to introduce you to the program tonight. First, well, I'll reiterate what Chantel says. We're really happy to congratulate each of you on being admitted to the University of Maryland, and of course, for the invitation to the Honors College. So as I said, I'm Juhi Ramaprasad. I'm the IBH faculty director. I'm also, the other hat I wear is as an associate professor of information systems. I've been at University of Maryland since 2019, and I came in as an associate professor. Prior to that, I was at McGill University in Montreal. A large part of what I do outside of IBH and teaching is my research, and a lot of my research is interdisciplinary. I'm studying the music industry, online dating, kind of really areas where digital transformation has had a large impact on industries. And so my research really translates over to what I believe this program is all about. So in my role with IBH, I oversee this program. And as part of this, I also have the privilege of teaching the very first course that the students take, which is called HBUS 100. You'll hear more about the courses in a few slides. And this class is about centers on what is the future of work. And as I said, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next slides. But tonight, first, I'm joined by my colleagues, Liz Galvin, the Associate Director, and Jillian Cordial, the IBH Program Coordinator. And they'll each briefly introduce themselves now, but you'll hear a bit more from them later on as well. So Liz?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the IBH session. We're so excited to have you. I'm Liz Galvin. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve as the Associate Director of IBH. I've worked on campus for about 15 years now, and I'm a proud Maryland and Honors College alumna, so really excited for you all to be starting your journeys here with us. And I will pass to
Hi, everyone. My name is Jillian Cordial. I use she, her pronouns. I work as the program coordinator for the Interdisciplinary Business Honors Program. I'm also a proud Terp. I did my master's here in higher education, and I've been working with the IBH program since 2023. Congratulations, and we're excited that you're here with us tonight.
Thank you, Liz and Jillian. We're really lucky to have the two of them in IBH. And you'll hear more from them, as I said, in a little bit. But for tonight's program, I'll give you a brief overview. First, we'll be starting with an overview of what the program is all about. Then we'll turn things over to a few of the current IBH students, and they'll tell you a little bit more about themselves, share their own experiences in the program and on campus more broadly. And you'll also get to see some of the spaces that the IBHers live in. So that's an exciting, I think, part of the session tonight. But before we get started on all of that, I would like to know a little bit about who's here tonight. So if you're able, just use the raise hand feature, or you can physically, if we have videos on, physically raise your hand. We don't have a lot of videos on. But I have two questions for the students in the chat. One is, how many of you have visited campus in person? Can I get some hands, other than the current students? Do we have anybody? Okay. Okay, we have a couple. Great. And has anybody done anything? Thank you, Will and Crochet. Have any of you done anything related to business during high school? You can raise your hand again, or maybe there's nobody. All right, so Neely, great. So yeah, IBH is a really good opportunity, as you'll see, to get exposed to some fundamentals of business while you might be doing other majors. So thank you for participating. It's really nice to get a little bit of background of all of you. And so, as Chantel said, we'll have time for Q&A at the end, but we'll first start with an overview of the program. So I'd first like to start with the mission of IBH. So the mission of IBH, I'll read this and then I'll talk a little bit more about it. So the mission of IBH is to empower exceptional students of all majors to thoughtfully engage in learning that transcends disciplinary boundaries, developing the skills, tools, and confidence to be responsible and resilient leaders in a dynamic business world. So I kind of want you to think about this statement as you think about joining IBH. This is really what we use as our guiding principles underlying the courses, the events, and the general culture we like to promote in the program. Um, to give you a little bit more background about IBH, we are a fairly new program. We launched the first cohort in fall of 2022. So we're currently in the third year right now. IBH is a partnership between the Honors College and the Smith School of Business. And it was created by the current dean, Dean Prabhudev Kanana, who wanted to engage the most talented University of Maryland students who are also interested in exploring business. Interdisciplinary, as I've alluded to before, is in our name, and it is very important to IBH. We welcome students from all majors who are interested in learning about business. We really take this multidisciplinary approach to student selection, faculty involvement, and our course content. So it's really reflected across all parts of our program. And kind of underlying this is we recognize that the workplace you're going into and the work that we do is not siloed. And that any job that you may be interested in will require not only domain knowledge, right? Knowledge from the major you might choose, right? But also an understanding of how to communicate across disciplines. And so one of the examples I always like to use, I've seen this in practice a lot, and I've seen this with my own experience in research and teaching, is if you want to be a musician, right, you have to know the skills of a business person, of a lawyer, of the musician itself. All these different kind of aspects of the industry, right? So you can be the best musician, but if you don't have the entrepreneurial and business skills, it may be hard to be really successful. And so this is kind of the philosophy we think about in this program. It's been really exciting to launch our third cohort this year, and our goal is to welcome 60 to 70 new IBH students in this coming academic year. So right now we have about 120 total IBHers across our cohorts. And our inaugural cohort had 120 IBHers across cohorts 2 and 3. Our inaugural cohort had 58 students, and they are now third year students at the University of Maryland. What's been really fun to see this past year is the shared mentorship between cohort 2 and cohort 3 students within and outside the halls of Prince Frederick Hall, which you'll get to see a little bit later. So next academic year, we welcome our fourth cohort, and we will have students and alumni at all years of the university, which is exciting. So who are these students? So we keep talking about interdisciplinary and that we value kind of a broad set of perspectives. And I think you can see with this slide that that's kind of who we are. We welcome students from all backgrounds and experiences. You can see we have quite a diverse set of students in terms of backgrounds as well as majors. A little under half of the students we have are majoring in business within the Smith School of Business. And we have a pretty broad representation of fields on campus. So all 12 academic colleges on UMD's campus are represented in the IBH program. We have about 40 students, I don't know if that number's on the slide, 40 students majoring across engineering, computer science, and natural sciences disciplines. And then we have a wide variety of other disciplines represented as well. So music, performance, economics, human development, and several other majors. So in terms of what our course curriculum looks like, IBH has a 15 credit curriculum that includes 5 courses. So I'll describe each of them briefly to you. But first I'll kind of say that broadly, we value in all of these courses kind of a highly interactive classroom and hands-on learning experiences. In each course, you will participate in 2 to 3 team projects. We all try to rotate the teams that you're a part of through each of these courses so that you get exposed and get to work with people from across different disciplines and kind of understand and be able to deal with team dynamics across a diverse set of perspectives. So our broad goal for you in these classes is to gain some fundamental knowledge of business while at the same time learning how to think critically. This is a fundamental piece of our program, right? We want you to think about what the future looks like, as you can see with the title of our classes, right? But also how to communicate effectively and work across disciplinary boundaries. So the first 4 courses that you see here are taken in sequence. We start with HBUS 100, the Future of Work, which introduces students to business considerations that impact work across disciplines. Some of the questions that we thought about this past fall was, how does policy impact what the future workplace will look like? And what is the role of the rapidly changing technology, as all of us are experiencing, in shaping what our future workforce will look like? Next, students take HBUS 105 in the spring of the first year. which is the future of analysis. This course considers how business is being shaped by the increased use of data. Of course, I think again we've all experienced this in our daily lives, right? So some of the course topics include AI, bias, privacy, all of these kind of fundamental issues that we face in a society that is becoming more and more data driven. So one of the group presentations in a prior year for this course was selecting a streaming service and analyzing the user agreement to learn how much data is being collected from users. Okay. The third course is the future of leadership, where students examine case studies of real-world organizations and complete a group project, selecting a small business and developing a toolkit to help the business improve their DEI efforts. The next year, so that's the first year, in the spring of the HBUS 200 is the future of leadership, which is the fall of the second year. In the spring of the second year, we have HBUS 205, which is the capstone project. Capstone project. And so this is a really cool hands-on experience that students get in their sophomore year, right, which is quite unique. So company partners sponsor projects, and different student teams work on the different projects, depending a little bit on the interest and the match between the student interest and the company project. So we are excited again this year to partnership with several amazing companies, including Clark Construction and CQ. And then the final course is not in the structured curriculum, but is a 3-credit elective course, which can be done in any semester. So these include interdisciplinary online on-campus course like business law. Other things that kind of can fall into the category of electives are a study abroad program, completing a study internship, or a fall reflection course based on that internship. And so that's kind of the elective course. So the elective course, as of now, we kind of approve based on the student's major and if it really represents kind of an interdisciplinary supplement to what students have already taken. And with that, I will now pass it on to Liz, who will tell you more about the learning that happens outside of the classroom.
Great, thanks, Julie. So in addition to the curriculum that Julie was just talking about, we also prioritize experiential learning and extracurricular activities for IBH students. These activities usually focus around 3 areas, so community building, professional development, and then industry access. We try to take advantage of UMD's location near the DC and Baltimore area to engage with local companies. So you can see the picture in the bottom middle of the screen is from a field trip we took to a nearby Pepsi bottling factory. We got to walk the bottling factory floor and kind of see how that process works and hear from the management. There was a secret room where all the flavoring was stored that you had to have security clearance to enter. So sadly, we didn't learn any secrets about how they mix Pepsi, but it was a really interesting visit for the group. We also encourage IBHers to think outside their borders. So Julie mentioned that study abroad counts as one of the elective options. We were really excited to launch study abroad within IBH last January, so 2024. And then just last month, we had our second annual study abroad opportunity. So I was able to take 24 students to Italy for 10 days. This year's theme in Italy was looking at luxury goods in relation to today's environment of sustainability. So we were able to visit several well-known companies, a watchmaker, a clothing company called Brunello Cucinelli, if anyone's familiar. But we got to learn about how luxury goods are made and kind of how the companies are operating these days with the focus on sustainability. Last year, we visited France for 10 days, and that theme was focused on the impact of culture on doing business in different markets, in the global environment. We're currently working on next January's study abroad. We'd love to have some of you join us. And then just to highlight a few other opportunities, the picture in the bottom left is a team of IBH students who went to the University of Nebraska to participate in a business honors case competition. And we've taken a team the past 2 falls to participate in that opportunity. So a lot of activities and development that happens outside the classroom to kind of complement the curriculum within IBH. And then one of the most important aspects of the program is the community, which I'm sure you'll hear a lot more about from our students in just a minute. And first, I'll pass it on to Jillian to talk a little more about what we do in terms of community building activities in the program.
Thank you, Liz. The community is really the heart of the IBH program, and we wanted to share a few pictures from student events and activities, and I'm sure our current students will have quite a lot to add about the community, so I will turn it over to them in just a minute, and you'll also get a sneak peek inside Prince Frederick Hall. So this photo is one of our IBH cohorts on the National Mall. IBH does an annual trip at the beginning of the semester to welcome each incoming cohort. And this photo is from our annual UMD Challenge course where students engage in team building activities. And this set of photos is from Honors Convocation, where Honors College faculty and staff come together to welcome the incoming group of honors students. And IBH even had one of our students, a music performance major, play Bohemian Rhapsody at this year's Honors Convocation. And now to talk about living, because we are a living learning program. So first, I want to introduce you to Prince Frederick Hall, the home of IBH. It is one of the nicest residence halls on campus. It's located in the North Hill community near the South Campus Dining Hall, which is about 5 minutes away. And it's directly across from Van Munching Hall, the business school. We highly recommend you check out our Prince Frederick Hall video tour linked on our website so you can get a sneak peek inside the residence hall. The building includes 2 classrooms and event spaces that we use frequently for IBH. One of our courses this semester is held in the building, and we just had a Super Bowl party this past weekend in the Prince Frederick Multipurpose Room. Prince Frederick is a dedicated Honors College program residence hall, and it's home to 3 Honors College living learning programs, IBH, ACES, and DCC. And all first-year students are required to live in Prince Frederick Hall. Okay, thank you so much for your attention during our overview. At this point, I'm thrilled to introduce representatives from Cohort 1 and Cohort 2 to give you a firsthand account of their experiences in the program. And we'll start with Akash.
Hi everyone, I'm Akash. I'm a junior, so I was in cohort 1. I'm from Germantown, Maryland, and I'm currently a biological sciences and general business minor. Some of my involvement on campus is that I just started my undergraduate thesis in the biology department. I also work in research for the animal sciences department in the University of Maryland School of Medicine. And I'm an honors ambassador, as why I'm here today. I teach math and science at College Park Academy. I'm also a sports photographer for the school newspaper and a presidential and national merit scholar. And in my free time, I love playing tennis, skiing, climbing, running, and taking photos.
Hi everyone, my name's Urja. I am from Long Island, New York. I am a philosophy, politics, economics major, as well as a general business and professional writing minor. Some things I'm involved in on campus is I am a presidential scholarship recipient, Empowering Women in Law, the Every Child Project, which is this tutoring facility that we work with. I am also part of the Global Fellows along with IBH Honors Ambassadors, TERPS for Change, which is a service-oriented organization, and the University Student Judiciary. Some hobbies of mine include running, going to the beach, watching movies, playing board games, and building Legos.
Hi everyone, I'm Josh. I'm from Folsom, Maryland. I was also in cohort 1 and I'm a computer engineering major. Some of my involvement is honors ambassadors, VIPS, Terp Trails. That's a virtually integrated project that is run through, I believe, the engineering school. And it's basically like an app development club currently working on a new UMD app. Um, I'm part of the Pickleball Club, Vietnamese Student Association, and Big Ten Plus broadcasting. And then some of my hobbies are sports climbing, hiking, running, going to the gym, watching movies, and playing board games with my roommates.
Hi everyone, I'm Uche. I'm from Sykesville, Maryland. I am in cohort 2 of IBH, so I am a sophomore. I'm a government politics major and I'm on the pre-law track. Some of the things I do on campus, I'm a Banneker Key Scholar. I am the programming chair for IBH. So all of those community events that we had this year, like our Super Bowl party, we went to Six Flags this semester, and we're going on like a cherry blossom cruise soon. So those are all events you guys could be a part of. I'm the president of the Black Business Association, part of the Black Honors Caucus, and honors ambassador to the Honors College, a part of a club called Business Beyond Borders, which was founded by an IBHer. I'm a part of the Black Explosion newspaper, and I'm also a Spanish tutor. Some things I like doing outside the classroom are going shopping, playing volleyball, and going to sports games.
Hi everyone, my name's Amira. I'm also cohort 2. I'm from Waldorf, Maryland. My majors are computer engineering and public policy. In terms of some of my involvement, I'm a Banneker Key Scholar. I'm the social media manager for IBH. I'm also a part of Startup Shell, which is just basically a hub where a lot of people come together and work on startup ideas. I'm also a part of the Student Government Association. I'm also a part of Business Beyond Borders, which is a club that one of my friends founded. I'm an intern for the Center for Artificial Intelligence and Business. I'm also a part of Hack for Impact, Theta Tau, which is a professional engineering fraternity, as well as the College Park Tenants Union. As part of some of my hobbies, I really like cooking and baking. I also like hanging out with my roommates a lot. I like going on nature walks, window shopping, and reading.
Thank you so much, students, for sharing all of that. I think you can see from all the photos what a wonderful community IBH is and the full benefits of a living learning program. Being able to interact both inside and outside the classroom really creates strong community bonds, supports academic success, and helps students feel a part of the program and the UMD community. I am going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and we will go ahead and start answering some of your questions. So please go ahead and use the Q&A feature on Zoom, and we'll get some of your questions answered. So I think we'll go ahead and give people a few minutes to think of their questions. I'd like to go ahead and ask our current students, why did you choose IBH?
Me personally, I chose IBH because in high school I never did anything related to business. I was always kind of like on the law and humanities side of everything. My friends were all business majors. I was like, business sounds so like mysterious. Like, what is business? I was like, IBH sounds like a cool little something to like join to just learn more about what business is. And I can say it's been helpful because I am on the pre-law track. I know we had a guest speaker my freshman year in H 100. She taught one of the business law classes in the business school. So I guess learning about that intersection that exists between law and business was really cool.
Yeah, I can go next. For me, the reason why I chose IBH, a big part of it was the community because it is one of the smaller honors programs. I was really drawn to that because it was really important to me that I could have people that I was close with in my classes, people that I could see every day that was familiar to me. Additionally, I am a computer engineering and public policy major, and both of those don't really have to do a whole lot with business. But business is really important no matter where you work. It's just an extremely important perspective to have. So I felt it was going to be a great program that'll give me that upper edge in terms of jobs or just general experience, just to become like a better employee or better myself in my career.
I think adding to Amira, I definitely agree that business is basically important in any single career path you go for. As a bio major, I think it was very helpful just having such a diverse set of people in our first cohort, seeing computer engineering, business, so many different majors were able to contribute. And I think it's important to have that interdisciplinary approach instead of just being surrounded by the same type of person.
Yeah, so just to, I guess, continue that. In high school, I was part of a magnet program called the Science and Math Academy. So their focus was like basically just leading students to be like bio or engineering majors. So I wasn't really surrounded by business. And I also thought it was like something that was like super important. I took marketing in high school, and I was just like surprised at how different people think in the business world, I guess. So I'm introverted myself, so I thought that being part of the first cohort of IBH would be pretty cool to like take myself out of my shell and just like learn from other business majors.
Yeah, I can also just echo what everyone said. I am also on the pre-law track, so I really wanted to gain some experience outside of the humanities aspect, and I thought business was a great way to do that because business does truly intersect with all disciplines, and I am really grateful to have done it because of all the skills that I've learned and all the friends that I've made.
Okay, and a second question for our panelists to think about is what is your favorite part about living in Prince Frederick Hall? And while you think about your answers, Amira is actually in Prince Frederick right now and can give you a little sneak peek.
I would say that
Sure.
my favorite part of
Oh, you're good, Uche.
I would say that my favorite part of living in Prince Frederick Hall is because I'm like a humanities major, all my classes are like really close to Prince Frederick. And it's like just really nice. Like when my friends from other schools come to visit, they're like, oh my gosh, your room is so big. And they're like, wow, it's so nice in here. And it's also really close to the dining hall and the market. So if you like want a late night snack, the market is like the place to go. And it's really close to all like the shops on Baltimore Avenue. So that's really nice. And it's nice having like everyone you have class with live with you because it's like really convenient. You know, everyone's just people who are like the same age as you, they're just doing homework in the lounge together and stuff like that. So it's like people who you know are like right across the hall.
Yeah, I was gonna say I am in the IBH lounge right now, so I can show you guys what it looks like. I'm on my computer, so it's a little awkward, but like over there, those are all the couches, all of that. I'm here with my friends right now. They're studying. So we're all sitting at the table together. But yeah, it's just like a really nice spot. A lot of people come here to play games, or there's a TV here, so we'll just watch like TV or movies, and it's a lot of fun.
We
I
have a
think
few
I see,
questions. Yeah.
yeah, a couple of questions coming in. What one is what are some examples of the capstone projects through IBH? So I know we have some students here who completed their capstone last year, and then Uche and Amira, you're just selecting your project. So maybe we can get both perspectives.
Yeah, so Amir and I are actually in the same group for our project. We're also roommates. So our business is CQ, which is like a Maryland-based like bank, I think. Yeah, like a bank. So for at least for the project that CQ did last year, I think about 20 of their like thousands of workers in CQ were Gen Z. So they essentially wanted one of the groups in IBH to figure out how they could better recruit Gen Z students to work at CQ. So it's just about like analyzing like trends from other companies who do a better job at retaining Gen Z workers and seeing what different types of things CQ could implement into their hiring practices and their recruiting techniques to better get more Gen Z workers to be a part of their company. So that's an example of one of the companies that Amir and I are working on.
Yeah, I actually I was in the group that did work with CQ last year in the Gen Z project. It was actually very interesting, very fun. It's definitely something that I now use to speak about during interviews, and it helped a lot with professional development, working with a real life company and just getting that client and that client relationship. Um, what was very interesting about that project was because of all of our different disciplines, we also created this algorithm to help figure out which words they should use in their descriptions on job applications to see what would actually catch the eyes of Gen Z and stuff. So I know one of my friends who was a CS major, she was able to help a lot with that. So again, the community and the interdisciplinary approach to IBH speaks a lot and it helps a lot with projects that we do.
Is there another cohort one student who'd like to speak about their project? Did you guys do something different from CQ?
Yeah, so Josh and I were in the
Yeah.
same group. We worked with a small company called Glassy Plant. Um, and we mainly worked on improving their social media presence, kind of increasing their target demographic. And because it's such a small business, it was a kind of a different experience. We were basically tasked with increase like a lot of marketing work. Um, I think because CQ is such a big company and Glassy Plant is such a small company, we had a different experience in that way. So there's a huge range. There's people working with turning the page, there's people working with coffee shops. Um, and of course, you get to put a preference form for what you want to work with. So I think you're not limited to just a giant corporation, but you have a wide variety of options to choose from.
All
Great.
right. And kind of along those same lines, thinking about IBH classes, what do you enjoy most about the IBH classes? Maybe like a favorite project that you worked on besides the capstone, unless that was your absolute favorite.
I would say for me, this is like really like random, but my favorite part of the IBH classes was the fact that like each group that we got for group projects was like completely random. And like there's like 60 of us. You didn't really know who was going to be in each group that you had. And there's 3 group projects per class. So that's like 12 different groups I've been on with like everyone in the cohort. So I think it's just really like kind of cool to just like get to be able to work with different people in every group project, and you kind of see like the different group dynamics, and you gotta get to like work with new people, meet new people, get closer to other people. And now that I'm in like my final semester, it's cool to see like the people that I really found I work really well with and I become really close with in class. So I'd say that's my favorite part of IBH's classes.
I totally agree with Uche. I think the fact that coming from high school, a lot of us weren't that excited about working on so many group projects, but I've never had a bad experience in IBH working with a group. Even though week to week or month to month we change a group, everyone is so willing to put in their work, kind of go above and beyond, and really make the project great.
I was gonna say one thing I really enjoyed about the H plus classes are that a lot of them are pretty much solely discussion based. And I take a lot of technical classes since I am an engineering major, and a lot of that can become very overwhelming. Whereas in H plus, it's just more of sharing ideas and kind of just exchanging all these different things, which is really just refreshing. But at the same time, you're learning a lot. Like, for example, I took H plus 200 last semester and I learned a lot about consulting. It was just extremely useful. So now whenever I do case competitions, it becomes like it's really useful information just to be able to like know and internalize that. So I think those are my favorite aspects of the classes.
Yeah, just to continue what you said about the like technical classes, something I really liked was the discussions, especially in the so if you get an internship, one of the IBH electives is actually a discussion or a reflection about that internship. Um, so we had a lot of those discussions where like people from larger companies, not necessarily the one that you worked at, would come in and just talk to you and just discuss. So it was like a nice stress-free environment to basically like network plus just reflect and learn more about your internship at things that like you may not have noticed because of the fast-paced environment.
Awesome. And then something you all may have noticed, all of these students have different majors. And so I'm curious, how do you all feel like IBH complements your major? And if you could please restate what your major is when you answer the question.
So me personally, I'm a government and politics major. So I said before, I'm like on the pre-law track. So IBH brought in a guest speaker my freshman year that she was one of the professors who taught a course in business law in the business school. So I think her talking about business law, I think that was really cool to hear about because that wasn't really something I learned about in high school. And then in terms of other aspects, there's business ethics. You know, politics is a really big aspect of business, you know, who gets elected and who makes laws. So I think as you go through the course, you kind of get to see like bits and pieces. Oh, this is kind of related to what I like to do. This is, I see like my major in this, my interest in this.
So I'm a bio major, and one specific example I can think of is over the summer I worked at NIH and Shady Grove Hospital, and a lot of the doctors there are small business owners. And even with dealing with hospital management, they definitely knew a lot about business, and they wish they learned more about business while they were in college, in addition to just pre-medical classes. So I think that's one way that IBH has helped me in a great way.
Um, to restate, I'm a computer engineering and public policy double major. I feel like one way that IBH has helped is just it's helped me explore different career options in my field. So for example, consulting, which is something that I believe that I am going to go into, I don't believe I would have discovered it without IBH and understanding what consulting is and how it works for each major. And I feel like it's something that ties in with engineering and policy, which are two things that I still want to be greatly aligned with, but I also want that business aspect as well.
Yeah. I am a philosophy, politics, economics major, which is quite different from business. I would say that it definitely has complemented my major because a lot of the things I do in my major classes is just a lot of reading and writing, but IBH allows me to actually work with people, create presentations, which I haven't really done in any of my philosophy classes or policy classes. So it was really nice to get that experience to work with people and gain more technical skills. I would say IBH taught me how to make PowerPoints really, at what sizes a picture should be. It was really such a helpful skill that I will carry on throughout my career.
And then I'm a computer engineering major. I didn't hear the question, but I think it's what we can take away from the program. Oh, sorry, I was answering something in chat. But something that definitely helped was learning how to network. I'm not a huge like people person. Like I'm not good at speaking very well, especially in like a professional environment. So IBH having like the multiple like presentations in class and also meeting other groups that were at the business school, I was able to take away a lot from just learning how to speak professionally.
Well, I think you're doing a great job right now, Josh. So
Thank you.
thank you all for those perspectives. I want to make sure we get through a couple of these questions in the Q&A. So I see one that says, how likely am I to get into IBH if I put it down as my first choice? I don't have like an exact answer for you. It's a complex process and it depends a little bit on how much interest we have, how many students list the program as number one. I can say in the past few years, we have had many more students interested in joining IBH than we have spaces available, unfortunately. So it is a competitive process. If you are interested in IBH, I highly encourage you to select it as number one on your interest, your preferencing form. That does give you the best chance of being invited to join the program. We do typically fill all of the spaces with students who have listed IBH as their number one interest on the preference form. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And then I see another question about corporate partners, whether IBH has any corporate partners that they work with or any companies that come to UMD to scout IBH students. What a great question. We mentioned in our overview that we do quite a bit of engagement with industry, especially in the local area. So we absolutely have companies come in to both our classroom and for extracurricular events to either talk about the company specifically, to do some recruiting, or to give a guest lecture or talk about, the topic of the week in our IBH course. I wonder if any students have thoughts on like connections they've made or how their time in IBH has maybe helped like with recruitment and interviews.
If I can jump in as the students are thinking about their answers, I think what Urja just said was like a real nice testament to kind of developing the skills and also Josh, right? The fundamental skills needed to communicate to network, to be professional, to have a LinkedIn presence, right? All of these things, we do try to cultivate those fundamental business skills as a foundation. And I think I'm getting the two questions mixed up because yeah, the corporate partners, right? Because there's entrepreneurship is also very related to this, and another great question. And we do have a lot of guest speakers. We do have a lot of industry engagement in the classroom, and we like, for example, in H 100 this year, I really tried to think about who was in the class and what majors were in the class and what type of guest speakers they would value, right? So who could they connect with, even if it was in the end just one student who made a connection. Every single guest speaker resonated with somebody in the class, right? So that was what we tried to do. And that's kind of the fundamentals of starting the networking process, right? And so as freshmen, we think that's a really nice exposure at the baseline. And if I can jump in on the entrepreneurship question, which Josh answered really nicely already, but there is a community of entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs in IBH already, and we do often have guest speakers who can speak to entrepreneurship and their journey, and they're often happy to help outside of the course as well. So as he said, there's no formal programming around entrepreneurship, but we do try to kind of nurture the students who are in the program in the way that's best for them. So I'll let the students and Liz kind of take it from there, but I just wanted to jump in with those two pieces.
Thanks, Julie. I think I heard maybe Urja say earlier that she uses IBH in interviews. Does anyone want to mention another way that it's kind of helped with like the corporate or the internship or job application process?
Yeah, I feel like IBH specifically gives a lot of experience to talk about. I've used it in interviews, as I said. I typically talk about like all the group projects that I've done, especially in the HBUS 205 course when we actually get to work with a company. A lot of students don't get that opportunity, and it really makes you stand out.
I would
Yeah,
say for me,
additionally, oh,
you can go, Mary.
yeah, I was just gonna say additionally, I feel like HBUS itself was just great for networking and finding opportunities. I remember one of the first things we did when I was a freshman was we created LinkedIn's in class, and Professor Bailey, he helped us with our resumes. Additionally, whenever we have guest speakers come in, a lot of times we'll connect with them on LinkedIn afterwards, or we'll reach out to them and talk to them. Jillian, she does a great job sending out the newsletter and giving us all the different opportunities of like different internships or research programs, which I think is great. And a lot of people have gotten really good stuff through IBH. So I think it's just great in that aspect.
Yeah, I'd say that IBH is less about like holding your hand and like guiding you through getting an internship and like giving you an internship. It's more about giving you like the practical skills you need to have success through recruiting in an interview and when you get into your internship. Like Amir said, because I was like a humanities person, I had no clue what a good LinkedIn looked like, what a good resume looked like. So it was really nice having that day in class where we learned that. And like now that I feel like I'm kind of a LinkedIn expert or professional now from that. And also we did a lot of like comparing resumes last spring and looking at a good resume versus a bad resume and how like a recruiter sees a resume. So I think just having those different days in class where we learn these practical skills are really invaluable things that we learn in IPH.
That's great. Thank you, everyone. I see a question. Are there any journalism majors who are a part of IBH? And yes, we do have journalism represented in the program. No one here tonight, our current students are journalism, but we do have that represented in the program. I think we've covered the Q&A questions at this point, and I know we have about 6 or 8 minutes remaining. So if there are any additional questions, I would go ahead and put them in the Q&A now so that we can make sure we cover them before we end our session this evening. Don't see anything immediately, so I'll do one more question for the students while we look for some new Q&A. What about a fun one? Like, what's your favorite IBH memory? We haven't heard like the fun things you're doing outside the program.
I would say that my favorite IBH memory are definitely all of the events that I put on some of them. But it was definitely when we went to Six Flags last year, and that was like during Halloween. So it was like I forget what it's called, but it was like all like this people dressed up in like their scary costumes and everything. And that was just a lot of fun going to that with my friends. It was like free transportation, free everything. So I was like, why wouldn't I go? So that's definitely one of my favorite IBH memories.
I don't know if this counts as a memory, but I'll say like one thing that I really enjoy is for HBUS 200 last semester and HBUS 205 currently this semester, our classes are late, so they end around like 6 or 7. And me and my friends will just go to the dining hall right after and we'll eat and we'll talk. And I feel like that's just something that's really enjoyable for me. And I know like I'm gonna look back on that and just really like enjoy that I had those moments.
I think the community is definitely that's not a memory, but I think that's definitely the number one part that I love about IBH. All my roommates now, even as a junior, are from IBH. My best friends are from IBH. I think it's truly the relationships and the friendships you make from IBH really make the whole program worth it.
Yeah, I completely agree. One of my favorite memories was the IBH bonfire that we had, I believe my sophomore year. It was very fun. It was like a back to school event. And I think one thing about IBH is that the students' feedback is actually taken very seriously. We do host events that the students want to see. So I think that is also just a great aspect is that like the students have a voice and say in some of the things they want to see.
And then my favorite memory is probably in H plus 200, we actually got the chance to go to a circus in Virginia, I'm pretty sure it was. That was just super fun. Also completely free, good trans or no transportation costs, nothing. And it was just something fun I could do with my friends, basically.
Thank you all so much for participating and talking about your IBH experiences tonight. There are two quick things that came up in the Q&A, and then we'll wrap up. One says this may have already been answered, but are students in the IBH program encouraged to start business and organizations surrounding their interests? And yes, absolutely. I think that's also kind of a UMD culture, along with, within the IBH program, there are several organizations that IBHers have launched since they got to UMD and joined the program. I think Uche mentioned one of them, Business Beyond Borders, earlier tonight. So yes, that's absolutely something that's occurring within the program. And then the next one is you mentioned that living with IBH is only mandatory for the first year. How many IBH students choose to live with IBH for their second year? We only have 2 years of data so far, so we'll see how things continue as the program, moves through the years. But in our first and second cohorts, we've seen that the majority do return to Prince Frederick for their second year. I think it's been over 85% both years. So most students are returning to the building for their second year. Are there opportunities for IBH students to apply for university funding to try to start a business while at UMD? Yes, again, the UMD culture supports entrepreneurship, and there are many different centers around campus designed to support students through that process. We're happy to connect students with that. Any final questions? I think I saw someone unmute. Is there a final question someone wants to ask? Or are we good? Okay. I think that wraps it up for our IBH session. Thank you so much for joining us. You are welcome to contact us on our Instagram, on our LinkedIn, on our email, however you'd like to get in touch if you have additional questions as you're considering your next steps. Quick reminder that since housing is required in Prince Frederick for incoming freshmen IBHers, you are required to submit both your enrollment confirmation and the housing application by May 1st if you're choosing to attend UMD. That housing application is important to ensure that you're securing your housing in Prince Frederick Hall to be part of IBH. And then we can show you our contact information here. You're also welcome to review our annual report that was released last month, highlighting 2024 in the program. Lots of more pictures and stories about the things that IBH accomplished over the past year or so, if you're interested in learning a little more about the program. But for now, thank you so much to all the current students who joined us, and we hope to see many of you in Cohort 4 in the fall. Please be in touch if you have any questions, and have a great evening.